Hello and welcome to Race Control Redux. In this rejuvenated series we'll be giving you tips, tricks and techniques in the world of sim racing. This week we'll cover the aggressive side of Racecraft and how to move through a pack without ending up in a wall. We'll be going into techniques for the offensive side of Racecraft in this episode, and by that I don't mean going around the track and shouting at everyone, that's just road rage. Instead, this is for when you're trying to work your way up the field without splattering your shiny race car all over the barriers. We'll start with awareness. One half of an overtake is getting in front of your opponents and the other half is staying there. This involves knowing where other cars are at all times as well as where they're likely to collide with you. Try and build a mental picture of everything that's going on around you and check your sides and mirrors to update it as often as possible, especially in braking zones. If it's a wide open corner then you can get away from trying to outbrake from a car length behind, but if it's something tighter then either make sure you've got the nose in front by the time you get there or brake early and concede the corner. You can't win if you crash. The same goes if someone cuts you up in the braking zone. It's frustrating, but hang behind him long enough and you'll see a safe opportunity. Make sure you're actually being cut off though, as a lot of drivers try and squeeze attackers out. If your bumper is level with his mirrors, then you hold the rights to the corner, so don't back off unless it's not safe, such as if you're both in cars with low visibility or you're going into a tight corner. The defender is only allowed to make one move to defend his position, but you are not bound by the same restrictions if you have no one close behind you. Use this to your advantage to get alongside your opponent on the inside. You can also go to the outside if you know that the next corner will put you on the inside. Overtaking on a straight is pretty simple, so we won't be going into detail on that today. If you're faster than the other guy, then go past him. Make yourself faster by getting a better exit out of the last corner. It really is as simple as that. Now let's move on to some questionable practices. This is only to be attempted with tough cars in series that allow light contact between drivers, such as touring championships. By closing slowly behind another driver when braking, you can tap his rear bumper with your front end just before he turns in. By doing this, you can push him past the apex and slip in while he's recovering. Don't do this in multiplayer lobbies, it's unsportsmanlike. If you encounter a particularly defensive AI, however, then maybe we can forgive you for getting a little creative. This is an inherently dangerous task, however. Tap too early and you get no effect. Tap too late and he'll spin out in front of you. Tap too hard and you'll break your radiator and overheat the engine. Tap too soft and you'll get no effect again. You really are better off not using this, but the more you know, eh? A more acceptable form of this is to nose into a corner slightly earlier than your opponent. If they're checking their mirrors properly coming into the corner, then they're gonna see you shoving your ugly mug in and think you're going for an overtake, forcing them to compromise on their line and lose time defending from you, when in fact you have no intention of passing for whatever reason. This is useful for strategic purposes. For example, when your opponent is driving harder than you and you want to bring him down to your level, or if your teammate is ahead of you and you want to protect him from the guy between you. It can also compromise his corner exit and get you closer on the next straight. Now then, crashing. As a general rule, it's best to avoid smushing your expensive machinery up against a barrier, but when it's unavoidable you can benefit from some damage control. Aim to avoid other cars as your first priority, then walls after that. If you've got that sorted, try if possible to finish your incident facing forward, preferably on the grass beside the track. Don't stop the car on the track. It may seem convenient, but it won't be the case when you get rear-ended at 100 mph. That being said, don't faff about on the exit of a corner either. If you're not already heading for the grass in a spin, then just hold the brakes, as people around you will find it easier to avoid you if you're not moving. That's all for the first episode of Race Control Redux Episode 1. We'll be airing the next episode in 2 weeks and we'll be covering more on the defensive side of Racecraft. Thanks for watching.